Hey everyone, this is Hill Street Soul, and you're tuned in to The Core with the Millennial Coach, discussing topics on real life. Check it out. Everywhere you go, don't forget the ghetto. Listen to The Core.
What up, people? It's Millennial Coach, and you're into the Core podcast. I just got off a call with a friend in Canada. You know, the beauty of living abroad is that you meet so many people from different parts of the world, and if you are someone who values relationships, you actually cultivate relationships, and if you're somebody who truly values relationships, you spend time maintaining them. And it was just nice to have a conversation just to find out where we're at. Again, you haven't spoken to her probably, I would say, about a year and a half, if that. I don't even remember when we last spoke. But it's just nice to know that people are doing well and they're happy and they're keeping life simple. You know, life doesn't, like she said, life is not complicated. So I want to talk about, I've spoken about toxic positivity this week. I've spoken about counting your blessings, but I also want to speak about our addiction to toxicity. So, but before I do, please, if there's 2 TV shows, me and my shows, that I need you lot to watch. And the first one, I have to tell on myself, and Rebecca, you know that I'm talking to you. I actually told her it was trash based on the movie that I watched about it, but now it's a television series, Cross, with one of my fiancés. So 50 Cent is one fiancé, Aldous Hodge is another fiancé. I'm just waiting for both of them to, whoever gets to me first, then I'm married them, innit? But while I'm waiting, I'm obviously enjoying his show. Cross, I wasn't really enjoying it, so I was telling my friend it's trash, and also because I didn't really enjoy the movie. Hello. And yesterday, I think I was doing some work, and I watched it, and I screamed, and somebody asked me if I was all right. Because the door was closed, and I screamed at the end. So if you haven't had the opportunity to watch Cross, do watch it. Really great show. And also The Hard Acres. I don't know if I've spoken about this show before. It's an English show. I don't know what channel it's on because people tell me I'll use dodgy websites. I actually use legitimate websites, okay? They just are not Netflix and chill. They're my Netflix and chill, my version. But The Hard Acres is a really great show of people going from rags to riches. I love those type of stories in life because I just like when people get blessed, and then you got to navigate your way through the blessing, making sure that you still maintain your essence, but you're not going to be subject to living outside of yourself in order to be accepted by society. So that's been really a really great TV show to watch. So I will encourage you to watch that. But yalla, let's go, Yanko. So back to the Millennial Coach, and that's who I am, DA, the Millennial Coach. And if you do want to ask me questions, feel free to email me, da@themillennialcoach@gmail.com. Like, share, and subscribe, but also, most importantly for me, is sharing the message with people in your circle. Because if you like the content, then you're someone on this wavelength, your people are going to like the content. So share it, because I want to build a community to empower others, if that makes sense. I want people to meet one and teach one. I want you to use your gifts for good. I want you to show love to a lot of people. I want you to cut off toxicity. And that's exactly what we're discussing today. Are we addicted to toxicity? The answer to me is yes. Have you scrolled on your phone and realized an hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours have just gone by and you're just doing this? And the thing is, you ain't learning jack diddly squat. Let's keep it 100. What are we truly learning on Instagram and Shorts? Not really. We're addicted to hearing people's toxic thoughts about relationships, which personally, when people have toxic responses about relationships, don't forget it's based on their experience. Now, I don't disagree with some of the things people say, but Do I want to hear the same thing over and over again about women wanting men who've got money? Now, I've said this before. That type of toxic, stinking thinking, as gosh, I can't remember the preacher. White lady, short hair, begins with J. I'll figure her out. J.M. Her last name begins with M. Gosh. Joyce Myers. How would I know her initials and not remember her name? That's nuts. Anyway, Joyce Myers always say stinking thinking, as of T.D. Jakes. And when you listen to a Joyce Myers sermon, she's actually pretty cool. She's a pretty cool preacher. I really do like listening to her at times. But she talks about stinking thinking. And we are as good as what we expose ourselves to. So if you watched yesterday, I spoke about being around men that show up for me. And I spoke about my close heartbeat. My friend Ekal, and he's in Ghana, and we have a nickname for each other, which is Didi, which is being greedy in tree. But it's the way we say it. We say it with so much love. And he's a friend that has always shown up for me. Always. Like, need to go to airport, he will drive me. I need something, he will pick me up. Just never, and it's not, and again, I don't understand people that ask you for petrol money. You didn't buy the car for them, you bought the car for yourself. If you're going to do a favor for somebody, do it from the goodness of your heart. Don't do it to receive money to put petrol in your car. That's not what people are there for. They're not there to fund your lifestyle. I have a father who shows up for me every single time, every time. I have a brother, again, who shows up for me. My nephews are two of the most respectful young men. And that's not just the work of my brother, but that's the work of my sister-in-law as well. So I want to shout out to Laura. But one of the things is, we're not holding ourselves accountable to the toxicity that we are engaging in and letting into our lives and then reenacting it. So in terms of being addicted to toxicity, what is it that you're lacking in your life? Because the toxicity part of it is telling me that you want to stay valid, or a lot of people want to be seen, even if they're seen in a toxic way or in a negative light. Like, to me, and this is why I talk about certain TV shows, because I want people to see the greatness of writers. I want people to see stories of success. I want people to see how people use their mind, not even for good, but to manipulate. If you watch a show, take something out of it where it's going to make you think about your own life. That's what not saying you're me and you watch things for different reasons, but I watch things sometimes just to learn about myself. Like, okay, I probably have some of those traits. I need to work on that. Because when you see certain behaviors be enacted in a space, you actually, for me, I think, I've got that trait. It's not pretty actually when it's acted out. And it may be your shadow side that you're aware of, i.e. I know my shadow side. So for example, when something, and this is something I'm addicted to when it's a form of toxicity, is when I feel like imposter syndrome's coming on, I start sabotaging a scenario because I feel like I shouldn't be there. And I've caught myself recently because I'm part of a particular group, and sometimes I'm like, I was having this conversation with a really close friend of mine, and she's in the Netherlands, and I said to her, sometimes I don't know if I should be in the same space. She goes, you deserve to be there because the way you are, how you think, you're very entrepreneurial. Like, she's like, that's where you're supposed to be. But because sometimes you have failures, and I'm telling you, when you are riding high, most of us, we're like, woo, everything's going well, right? But when things crash, you don't think the people that were your peers when you were riding high should be your peers when you're riding low. That's something I got to work on. But why I'm saying this to you is that your shadow self can be toxic. And I know that when I'm in the archetype of a saboteur, that's when I'm at my most toxic, because I start acting like a dickhead. And I know that I'm not that kind of person, but because I feel inadequate, then I start acting like that. So this is the thing, like, how many people are going to admit that they act like dickheads sometimes? A lot of us are trying to establish some type of rep that no one cares about. And it's not, to me, it doesn't really make any sense when you don't need to be somebody you're not. You just need to be yourself and just live in your truth. So when we're addicted to toxicity, we don't stop ourselves from doing dumb stuff. We don't stop ourselves from saying dumb things. Because I'm in an observational stage and transitional stage in myself, I am very aware of my shadow self and what it's trying to do. And I'm like, you need to relax. That's another thing. One guy described it is that when my dog starts barking, I tell my dog to sit. That's the shadow self. And I think that was a great analogy in terms of being able to control his emotions when he knows he's about to sabotage something. Because when something is that good and you just mess it up, and you could have prevented that. And it's happened to, listen, it doesn't happen to me often, but when it does happen, it happens it's very catastrophized, because I think that I've come from a community where we're very emotional, but we don't control our emotions when we're unhappy. And that isn't always healthy. And yes, I'm a coach and I know how to manage my emotions, but there's times that I forget myself. So if you're that person too, it's okay. It's not good in the moment, but what I will say to you, right? When you're spazzing out, like you're literally losing it. And please don't come for me and say you can't use that word. That's not what I mean. Like spazzing out, if you're talking about hip hop, like you're just going off the rails, like you're cussing, you're letting rip, right? But when you are spazzing out, yeah, what I'm gonna say to you is you need to go all the way to the gutter, because you need to lay out your system, and you better learn from it. Because I kind of half spaz out, but I just want one day, and it's like when people try and come for you, people that know you, and then for me, when you start talking to me recklessly, I'm just letting people know that that's the end of the relationship for me. I'm not interested in reconnecting you. You're disconnected, like done. So I don't get into spaces where I spaz out. But when you keep going, I remember I almost spazzed out on one, and I told her, you need to stop talking to me and telling me how I feel. This is the bit I don't get. You don't know how I feel, but you're telling me how. You need to shut up. But that's when I'm starting to lose it. But I don't ever want to lose control to a degree that I don't even see what's happening. That to me scares me. And one of my friends once said to me, yeah, I want to see you switch. I said, you do not, because I even will be scared for the person that I switched on. And that's why you need to understand the level of toxicity that you have, not worrying about everyone else's, because what other people's toxicity feeds you is actually, unfortunately, very inflammatory to your personality, because you're gonna, you might agree with it. And then you're going to use some of that learning, that toxic learning of someone talking about a man needs to do this and a man needs to have this kind of job. We're in a day and age that this world is tough. And if a man has a 9 to 5 and you like me, I don't have a problem with that. And if you are building your empire on the side, I don't have a problem with that. And if you don't have enough money to go out and do stuff, and I've got it, I've got it. Like, we got to stop holding people hostage in order to please ourselves. Because at the end of the day, you've got to have the give and take, deposits and withdrawal methodology in your life. When people give, you deposit. When you deposit, people give. That's it. But you've got to make sure that it's balanced. And so the thing that we have, when there's toxicity, sometimes, this is what I'm saying, like when you're an empath and there's toxicity in your spirit, it's because you're giving so much that you're depleted, and then you're angry that they haven't given you who you are. You can't expect you from other people. You cannot expect getting what you give to people from other people. What we've got to do is learn to accept people for who they are. There's a girl, I no longer speak to, but one time when we made up, right, we had a problem and we made up. And she confessed that I'm a very giving person. Like, if we're out and, I've got the dough and the bills there, it's a couple of hundred, I'll pay. Like, it's not a big deal, because to me, money flows to me frequently and easily and on a regular basis. I don't feel that money's out of my reach. But obviously there was a lack for her. So she had told me that anytime I did something for her, she always felt like she had to pay me back. I just want people to know one thing. Kindness is my way of living. It's not a strategy. I'm not doing things because I need you to now be my friend. I was raised in a place where people just did for each other. That's how I was raised, and I like being a giver. But the moment I see you are trying to take me for a mug, all oxygen pipes get cut off. All of it, done. And that's the difference between being an empath and being discerning. Like being a toxic empath. Because you can't keep giving and then you're depleted. It's just not healthy. We can't keep watching videos on YouTube and then no action in your life. You can't keep going to courses and then your life is not moving. To me, if a course doesn't serve me, I cut at the base. I'm like, this is not working, I'm out. I ain't paying for the rest because you're not providing me a service that works for me. It might work for other people, and I'm not discrediting that. It's not working for me. So we've got to get out of the toxicity of self-blame and contempt, because we have a lot of contempt for ourselves. Some of us are angry that we haven't made it yet. Some of us are angry because we ain't got kids. Some of us are angry that we ain't got a man. Some of us are angry that we haven't got a house. Some of us are, you know what? Maybe this is the part of your destiny. Has anyone ever sat down and said, like, maybe this is part of my destiny because I'm supposed to do X? So this is why addiction to toxicity and thinking that you need to do this, you need to do that. Who's telling you that? And if someone tells you, do you have to accept it? Culturally, you don't have to accept the things cultures tell you. You don't. Just because you're born Pakistani, you don't have to be in debt to your parents for the rest of your life. It's not true. Same as Africans, same as Indians, same as Middle Eastern. Like, you don't owe your parents nothing, your parents don't owe you nothing. But you can choose to do good by them if that's in your heart. Does that make sense? So, toxicity can actually bind us in ways that, for me, can be catastrophic. Because we become slaves to things. We don't embrace the world. We become slaves to a relationship has to look like this. Our house has to have this. We need to wear, I'm wearing a tracksuit. I call it the uniform. When you see them young boys, something, doesn't matter if I'm in the UK, doesn't matter if I'm in Paris or I'm in Amsterdam, young boys wear the uniform. They always wear the tracksuit. Doesn't matter what part of Europe I'm in. And I always find it fascinating. Like, it's Nike, man. You lot are making money hand over fist. Listen, let me sponsor the show, man. Sponsor me. What's going on? Like, you lot are making money hand over fist. All these kids are buying your thing. Like, I've got a pair of 97s just over there. Like, but they're like about 6 years old, right? But I'm the kind of person, if you know me, I keep stuff for like 20 centuries. So I'll keep clothes for a century. And people are like, where'd you get this from? I'm like, I got it when you weren't born. So that's how I roll. Someone told me I look about 30, in my 30s. Ooh. So I'm going to leave you now. But abundance is important to recognize over toxicity. Because if you can recognize the things that are making you think in a way that makes you angry, because that's what toxicity does. It makes you confront. This is what I'm saying about you don't have to deal with things with confrontation. And when you have toxic traits in how you think, the stinking thinking as per Joyce Myers, you approach things in a way that is unhealthy. You allow people to take advantage of you. You do things that you don't necessarily want to do. You say yes when you really mean no. That is not a healthy way. That's you being addicted to having toxic ways about yourself. So when you watch The Core, I get to the core of who we are. It's not always about other people. It's not always saying, it's because of this person. Listen, there are some idiots out there. Let's keep that 100. When you work, some of us work with some of the dumbest people in the world that act like they know it all, but they don't know ish, right? I get that. Some people are so incompetent, but they're earning six figures, but yet you're the one working hard and you're just under that person's umbrella of salary or pay packet. I get it. And it is annoying. Like, not saying to knock them over on the way from work, but you get what I'm saying? Like, you just want them out of the way. So, but I'm just saying, sometimes you need to just think about, how can I improve myself? Because the world is going to ish at the moment. And there's nothing anyone can do about that. So the only thing you can control is yourself. So if someone talks to you crazy, disconnect. You don't like something online, shut it down for 2 days. Don't go on Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is that you're watching. Read a book. Go and have a conversation. Just take yourself and have a conversation with someone in a coffee shop, like a stranger. Take a family member out for a walk. Just do something that is disconnecting you from technology and reconnecting you to humanity. So, I am the Millennial Coach. Today we've been talking about, are we addicted to toxicity? And the answer, in my opinion, is absolutely yes, we're addicted to toxicity. We don't mind watching violent things on our phones and keeping the video and circulating it. Someone's dead and then you circulate the video. It's just nuts. It's crazy. But I want you to share this video, subscribe to the channel, like it. Help me build the numbers, man. Let's get a community of real people taking real accountability and responsibility for how we show up as individuals within ourselves in order to make a transitional change for others in our lives. I'm the Millennial Coach. I hope today's been useful. And I'm signing out. Thanks for watching the call. I truly appreciate you.